Talk about Libya and the case that is ongoing at the minute. But before I do that, the IRA, not that many miles away from here, mounted a road check in the middle of a small village in South Armagh on Friday evening, broad daylight. Upwards of a dozen gunmen with AKs and a rocket launcher. The police were not allowed to go near them. Now that's the type of society we have to live in. That's what we have to live with. I would ask you in the UK, would you live with it? I'd ask you in the United States, would you live with it? No, you wouldn't. So why are we asked to live with it? It is with disbelief what's going on here in connection with Libya. It is quite obvious that there's members of the British government and also, unfortunately, the United States of America, their government, who have sold their victims, their innocent victims, out. In other words, oil is more important now than blood. Basically, this individual that was let go in Scotland, well, they've sent him home. What about the 270 people on the plane? When are they getting home? When are they going back to their loved ones? Never. But with that said, there has to be equality here. We fully support the American people. We fully support the American government on their actions. But we have to ask why our government are not prepared to do the same for UK citizens. Are we not equal? Are we not taking the same stand against terrorism as the rest of the world, especially alongside America? We are paying a very heavy sacrifice to fight terrorism. Not only over this last 30 odd years, but also at the minute out in Afghan and before that in Iraq. We were betrayed in the States with our legal case, although it is still ongoing. We're taking it into the UK courts. It's not finished. Far from it. We said 8 to 10 years ago that we would try and seek justice for the victims in Northern Ireland and other parts of the United Kingdom, for the innocent victims, let them be Protestant or Catholic, who were murdered or maimed at the hands of IRA, supplied by Libya. There are hundreds of AK-47s, there are heavy caliber weapons. Nobody wants to hold them accountable for that. So it's okay to come to Northern Ireland and kill hundreds and hundreds of people and maim thousands of people, but especially people missing legs and missing arms and half their face blew off them, people who cannot even get out of their bed because of the actions of the IRA, who couldn't have done it without the support of Libya. Well, we are every bit as important as human beings as anybody else. And our government promised us. We had a meeting with Gordon Brown, and Gordon Brown said that he would put the Foreign Office at the disposal of the victims to go out to Libya to lobby the Libyan government, and that they would support us. They have done a U-turn on that. Why? Well, we know why. It's all about money. It's all about some of these big companies getting rich on the blood of the victims of the United Kingdom. Well, it's time that people stood up and asked for justice to be served and people to be looked after. It's not simply about the compensation for victims. It's more about bringing to account what happened. Because if we don't, Gaddafi, Libya, the IRA, that whole part of history is going to be writ out, whereby it never took place. And that the IRA here in Northern Ireland never really did what they did. But the one thing people are forgetting, the IRA picked up their expertise from Libya in manufacturing bombs and these other type of weapons that they've used. They exported that. They exported it to the FARC guerrillas in Colombia, which is killing hundreds of people. They exported to Spain, to ETA, to the PLO, to a number of terrorist organisations around the world. So it's not just a case of the people in Northern Ireland. What Libya did help terrorism all over the world. So what went on in Spain, what went on in Colombia, what went on in other parts of the world was helped by Libya. And it's a point that nobody has picked up on. What they learned from Libya, they exported. And they actually got paid for it. They got $25 million from the FARC guerrillas, plus a load of heroin to sell for exporting their expertise to Colombia. Now, all we're looking is justice, and it's time our politicians come up to the mark, and it's time these human rights organisations that are only interested in our governments, who have apprehended terrorists. What about standing up for the innocent victims? Is human rights not for innocent victims as well as terrorists? Should the human rights organisations not be jumping on the bandwagon here to try and help the innocent victims? No, not interested. But we want to send a clear message to the UK government. If you do not put your support in behind our actions, we will take this into the courts in the UK. And the United States looked after their citizens. They done a dirty deal when it came to UK citizens. They excluded us. They done it on purpose, for whatever reason I do not know, because it would have took very little to actually settle what the UK victims were looking as far as compensation and getting the recognition. But for some reason they excluded us, and for some reason the British government are trying to exclude us. We believe there's something at the bottom of this that they don't want us getting to. What is that? Is it a case of that maybe the American and the British government knew that the IRA were being armed by Libya? I don't know, but there's some reason they don't want this legal case to go on into court. We'd ask why.